G'day, folks. Tony Parmenter here from the First 10 Minutes podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. So the First 10 Minutes is a video games analysis podcast where myself and two colleagues play the first 10 minutes of video games and then sit down to discuss how well they communicate themselves to players, both in terms of what they're about and how to play them. However, we are also now doing YouTube-specific content, which is what you are watching this very moment. So without further preamble, hey, let's play The Long Dark. So The Long Dark was developed by Hinterland in association with Canada Media Fund, and it has been out on Steam in early access for quite a while. I've played a few hours of it, but by no means consider myself terribly experienced at it. So since August of 2017, within the last couple of weeks, it is now in full release, which is why I'm keen to have a look at it. So one of the things that is in full release mode that wasn't in early access is Wintermute, which is the single-player story mode. We're not going to be playing that for this Let's Play. I'm much more interested in investigating survival mode. So let's go into that now. We're going to start a new game, and we are going to play on the difficulty level of Voyageur, which I believe is the default. I have been making some attempts at playing on Stalker. I die very, very fast, too fast for my taste when there are people watching me. So at the Voyageur difficulty level, this is for new or experienced players looking for a balance between exploration and survival. Wildlife is sparse, but can seek you out. Survival elements are challenging, but resources are plentiful. And it allows us to activate 4 active feats. You accumulate feats through sort of achievements or things that you have done over the course of the game. I haven't actually gotten any of them yet, so we can't activate any. We are also going to be playing on the beginner's map of Mystery Lake, which is ideal for new players and has a balance between wilderness and man-made shelters, resources, and wildlife. Sounds super good. The game also gives us an option of playing as either a male or a female character. My intention here is to try attempting a few different goes at the game, possibly perishing in a variety of ways. I'm interested to see what the difference is in terms of playing from one session to the next. Where do we start? Where do we find things? What happens along the way? So we might alternate between different play sessions, and we might start with female survivor. We're also going to possibly be a tad morbid, and we'll call this first attempt First Death. Alrighty, a mysterious geomagnetic storm has brought your plane crashing down into the northern Canadian wilderness. How long can you survive? Given that I grew up in tropical climates, probably not long. Okie dokie, the foraging for food and water, the struggle for life in a world without masters, housed in a body that man had made dependent on himself. Richard Matheson, I Am Legend. It's been a while since I've read that book. So here we are, in the game proper. We are clearly in a cold, cold place. And even though we've started on the Mystery Lake map, there are many different locations on the map where we can start. My familiarity with the map is not terribly high. As I said, I have played a little bit of this game, but not an awful lot of it, and certainly not an awful lot of it recently. Oh dear, you poor soul. I'm just going to take everything you've got. I'm very sorry. Is that a knife? Wow, we found a knife already. That's fantastic. Might be able to use that to open cans even. I'm not really sure. So you may have noticed there's a tiny little dot as a reticle kind of in the middle of the screen here. You do have to be really, really specific when you're trying to pick things up. We're going to take a bunch of stones because we can use them to throw at things if we absolutely need to. So I'm assuming the game wants us to have a little bit of dexterity and specificity in firstly finding things and then secondly maybe picking them up. I would guess that if I'm in a stressful situation, such as being chased by a wolf or something, Dave's quiet clearing, interesting, that would add extra pressure on me to perform seemingly simple tasks. Is a tiny stick. So our main priority in the early stages of the game is to collect some of the basic things that we're going to need to start a fire. I'm also going to want to find shelter pretty quickly. You'll notice when we go to something like this branch, it's going to take time and calories to break this down. And of course, that will vary depending on what tools we have available. But at the moment, I'm anticipating that my main enemy is going to be getting stuck outside in the dark. The top right corner, you can see there that it's around about midday, just before midday. Down the bottom of the screen, you can see temperature, you can see how tired I am, how thirsty I am, how hungry I am, and the life bar. So we're going to be looking for a place to stay for the night where we can try and stay warm, but seeing as we still have half of the day left, we should probably try to find resources. Be that food, be that water, be that warmer clothes, or any number of other things. Two roads diverged in a totally white wood, and I took the one on the left because I just decided to. Robert Frost would be so proud. All right. Well, we seem to be in some sort of gully arrangement. I don't know how easily I'd be able to climb up the steep walls of this. The movement system in this game does tend to be fairly quote-unquote realistic, and it is definitely possible to injure yourself badly by falling, getting sprains, or breaking bones, which clearly is not ideal, because I don't know about you, but I'm assuming there's not a hospital nearby, and everything I do is going to have to be makeshift for myself. Now, if I were to hold down the right shoulder button, I'd be able to sprint. You'll also notice that the stamina wears down pretty quickly there, so I might not use too much of it in case I actually have to sprint away from something like, I don't know, a bear or a wolf. Angry paparazzi, I don't really know. So you may have been able to tell, dear viewers, from my accent that I am from Australia. So I did grow up here in this country. I've lived here my entire life. I am very unaccustomed to cold climates. I spent a lot of my youth growing up in tropical areas. And while I have done a reasonable amount of remote field work doing sea turtle research, that also does tend to be in fairly warm climates. Just going to pick up these rose hips. And while I wouldn't consider myself a survivalist or terribly adept at wilderness lore of any kind, I can tell you that cold climates are utterly unfamiliar to me, other than me using my common sense of like, don't be outside at nighttime. Okay, so this is the titular mystery lake of the game. And this is a cabin with a flag outside it, which means it's kind of important. I believe it is the camp office. Rather than going inside now, because we can always do that later, I might actually go back to that other fork and just have a bit of a poke down that way and see what there is, seeing as we now know that we're so close to a source of shelter for when it gets dark. We're still kind of around midday. Yeah, you'll notice it is getting very, very cold, though. That thermometer has dropped down substantially. If that stays too low for too long, there is a potential risk of hypothermia, there is a potential risk of frostbite, and any number of not terribly great things. Just making sure that we grab items that are easy to pick up, that don't take a lot of time to harvest. You may have also noticed that my tracks in the snow are still here. So while typically, I guess, we may imagine that that would be a problem for enemy NPCs following us, my understanding is that there aren't really any in this game. And I would also imagine that if something were hunting me, like say a wolf or a bear, they would be able to use their sense of smell to find me and wouldn't really be trying to track me via my footprints. So what that leads me to believe is that it might be a way of me recognizing or maintaining my sense of orientation if I'm trying to figure out, have I been this way before? Am I walking in circles? Oh dear me, am I lost? And I guess they would be harder to see in the dark. There's an obvious statement. But they would also perhaps get swept away or blown away or covered in heavy weather by other falls of snow or just by the wind blowing things. All right, so this is Mystery Lake via the western access. And there are some huts around the shore of the lake here, so we're going to go poking around in them and see what we can find. Is that a rope? That is a rope. Interesting. What should we do? Should we go the mysterious rope way, or should we go to the huts? How much time? Oh, we've still got plenty of time, so how about we try seeing what's up here with this rope? I'm making an effort to keep my eyes and ears peeled for potential predators. Again, growing up in Australia, really not used to this concept of there being things that roam around on land that are bigger than you, faster than you, and that will eat you. I find that entire concept rather terrifying. Because I guess here, you know, we have a lot of kangaroos. I guess we have dingoes, but they don't really tend to hunt you. But we don't have anything like bears or wolves. We do have a lot of venomous spiders and a lot of venomous snakes. And I guess if you're near the water or in the water, crocodiles and sharks are totally a problem. But, you know, if you're out for a bushwalk or you're going camping, you don't have to worry about, is something going to tear through this tent and bite my face off. Face off. Little one for the John Woo fans there. What have we got up here? So there was a completely different endurance meter, I guess it was, of a hand icon when I was climbing. I don't know how that stamina will change. I don't know if I can't climb as far if I'm injured or if I'm really run down. Not entirely sure of how all the metrics work. I also have no idea if I'm heading in a really boring direction that is going to make it challenging for me to find cool things to do. Here's some old man's beard. We're going to harvest this because that is something that we can use. A lichen found in the ancient forests of the Pacific Northwest. Absolutely. Is that too high for me to grab? No, I just wasn't close enough. Excellent. And a cave. What could possibly go wrong? As the old saying goes, you can never have too much lichen. Nothing lives in caves, right? Firewood. Thank you very much. And hey, there's totally no bear in here. I assume it's possible that bears or wolves could be in there, but it is not this day. I'm going to keep hugging the giant rock wall on my left, so that if I do get turned all around and get lost and confused, maybe that will help to find a way back. Is there something around here? No, there is not. All right. Might go for a little bit of an oblique trudge across this hill. I think I just hit a climb wall there. I did. All right. Appears that those sections are a little too steep for me to walk up, and I'm guessing that might be the case all the way along here. Have to go a bit further this way. Looks like some deer running away. And also a rabbit running away. Can I grab it? Can I grab it? Oh, I see. You're trying to fake me out. You weren't really running. How hungry am I? Not that hungry. All right. Just want to keep my eye on the time there. Looks like a rail line down there. Okay. I do recall there being a railway line running through the map. I guess I've come to it in a different direction from usual. All the way up here. I saw a bit more lichen growing around on the trees, but we already have plenty of that, and I don't want to stall too much of my time collecting all of the one thing. I think we'd probably be better served trying to get a bunch of different things. Also mindful that I may have a difficult time trying to get down off of these rocks. But I want to see if there are any goodies stashed up here. Doesn't appear to be. Although it would be nice to have spoken too soon. Anything? Not really. Trying to make sure I don't make a first-person shooter assumption and just hop off a tall edge. Alright, doesn't look like we found anything there, folks, so let's try to get back down to these lower areas, and we'll make our way back to the lake. Don't believe there's going to be any pickups around here. Okay, I can see the lake over to the right there. Alright, I know where we are. I remember that tree from earlier. And walking in this direction. So we're going to go find the building. Might just have a bit of a poke around there. Maybe try and head out onto the lake. Is that a wolf? No, it is not. Maybe head out onto the lake and have a look in some of the fishing huts. Because there may be a hatchet out there that you use to break the ice apart so you can do ice fishing. So a quick reconnoiter. Oh, I like being able to use that word. Just to see if there's anything obvious lying around here, like a container or a, heaven forbid, a corpse that may have some things on it that I can use. There's the railway line. Yeah, the railway line that we saw earlier. Sometimes there are frozen deer carcasses around, but I don't seem to see any here right now. Something lying on the ground down here that may just be a tree stump. Run away! Run away! And there's some busted railway carts down there too, I think. Is it just rocks? It's just rocks. All right. That's good TV, Tony. Well done. All right. Totally out of stamina. It's going to be a long walk back to the cabin. So as we're doing that, let's have a check of our stats. Getting rather tired. Maybe worth... Just a stone. Maybe worth waiting... how are we doing? No, still got a lot of daylight left. Even though my character is getting tired, I think we will head out onto the lake. Just have a quick look at our inventory. So holding down the left bumper opens this radial menu, and you can see there's a whole bunch of different options in here. Just going to open the status window. I have a scarf, but I don't have a beanie, and I don't have an awful lot of clothes. I must be very cold. Indeed. So I guess that building's going to have some... I hope that building's going to have some clothes in it that I can use. But there is one closer fishing hut out there. We're going to head out to it and have a scrounge around. And then depending on what we find, we may come back to the cabin, or we may... head a bit further out onto the lake. Gonna take advantage of this stamina bar while I can to do the very sensible thing of sprinting across frozen water. This is natural selection at work. I must be pretty good at not dying. Shadows of birds there. Where did they go? There they are. I wonder if I could shoot them with a bow. I know a bow's a thing you can get in this game. All right, here we go. Indeed, there is a hatchet. Thank you very kindly. What else do we have here? That looks like dog food. I will eat that. That sounds delicious. Matches, good. Candy bar, good. What's in this container? Nothing. Don't let me down, drawer. Don't let me down, drawer. Yay, fishing line. Scrap metal. Long scarf. Better than nothing. Take that, because I can burn it. I don't have a fishing hook, so I can't do any fishing right now. We've still got time. We'll go to one more. I imagine that's the way it starts, right? I'll just do one more thing. I'll just go to one more place. We'll just try one more. Oh dear. Do you have anything useful for me? Thank you. What else? Is that a book? It is. So you can do research on books that you find. That one looked like a frozen, fishing book, which would be quite handy. Newspaper I can use to start fires. Water I can use for drinking. That will also be good to start a fire. Nothing. Soda. And nothing. Definitely time to head back. Let's take a quick look at those clothes that we bought, because I should be able to put that on as well. And I think every little bit is going to be helpful. Wow, I really don't have a lot of stuff. What else do I have? I'm nearly at my carrying limit too, by the looks of it. So I think it's definitely a good time to make a run back to the building. I believe it is the camp office. I think we'll probably find out when we go inside. So when you're playing this game and when you die, that's it. That's your run over, and you try again. So yeah, at the risk of throwing around a debatable term, it's kind of like a roguelike. Permadeath is a thing, and then you try your best to do better next time. However, what this means in terms of this game is I believe that you can only save the game when you sleep or when you enter or exit a structure. That could be wrong. There might be other moments that trigger it. I would imagine that if you're getting attacked by an animal, it would probably do something, depending on how unkind the designers feel. But what that means in terms of timing for Let's Plays, because I'll want to save at the end of every part, is I may end up doing some perhaps non-optimal entering or exiting of buildings, or possibly trying to head back to a building in order to save the game. I'm hoping that I'm going to start warming up automatically. Doesn't look like it's doing that. So let's do a scrounge first before we attempt anything else. Stacks of newspapers, I don't really need those. Got a nice stove there that we can use to cook things. So clicking on the right analog stick allows us to squat down so we can look around. More matches, yes, thank you. Accelerant for lighting fires is also handy. Anything? No. First aid kits are always great. I have hypothermia. That is not good at all. All right. Going to have to put everything else on hold here, and we're going to have to try starting a fire. So now that I've activated this, I have no control over anything other than the possibility of cancelling if I want to. So this may work, or it may not. If it doesn't, then provided that I have the resources to try again, I guess I will. I do have some wood and I do have some newspaper, so kindling is probably not an issue, and I did pick up more than one piece of potential firewood. So when this is done, oh good, it worked. Now we can see down the bottom of the screen there that there is an arrow next to the thermometer, so I am starting to warm up. I should be able to add wood to this. If I do that, it's going to increase the duration that the fire will go for, and dumping a whole bunch of wood will also increase how much warmer it makes things. So let's throw a few things on there. Really get that pumping out some heat. We're going to melt some snow just so that we have something. And I'm hoping that doesn't take too long. No, the fire will still be going. That's good. Now we have 1 litre of potable and 1 litre of non-potable water. So let's try boiling that other one. That will also take a little bit of time, but boiling it, of course, will make it potable or drinkable, which is what we need. Good, good, good. And why not? Let's open, I'm assuming with the hunting knife, and cook some of this food. Because I guess eating, drinking, and trying to get warm are pretty good ideas. Okay. Let's back away from that. Have a look at our stats. Right. So we're going to go and drink some water. Yum, yum, yum. And we are going to eat as well. All right. Let's take a quick look. Remain above freezing for 11 hours. Well, the good news is that it is coming up to sundown and I am going to have to sleep soon. So that has another 2 hours. I guess I could go to bed, but I think the beds are upstairs. Let's go find out. Is there something I can also light up here to keep warm? There is. Good. I might do that. Let's cross all our fingers and toes here, folks, and hope this works. Because if it does, then that will definitely be the end of this first part of the Let's Play. Let's be optimistic. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you're enjoying it. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally on Twitter, my Twitter handle is @Kalinscald. That's KALINSKALD. But also, please, please, please feel free to leave a comment or like, or even better, subscribe to the channel below. Success. We're awesome. Let's put just a tiny little bit more wood on there. And we're going to go over here. And we're going to sleep for 14. No, it won't let us do 14. We're going to sleep for 12 hours. So thanks for watching, folks, and I'll catch you again soon for more Let's Play The Long Dark.